Hey guys, welcome to my channel, and today we're doing an altar tour. Now, for those of you that have followed me for many years will know that that is my first video here on my channel, was an altar tour that I did, but it is literally 9 years old. Like, I haven't done one in years, and it's pretty bad. My hand's shaking. I don't think I'm very cohesive in what I'm saying. So I decided to do one recently, also because I put up a picture of my altar on Instagram, and I put down as one of the tags as being, my pagan Norse altar, and people were like, well, what's Norse about it? Because I don't see anything Norse on it, which I will explain now about that. And the thing is that for those of you that know me for many years, either personally or through social media, will know that I'm very close to Freya and Freyr. They are Norse gods, and I've been going through my spiritual path with them since pretty much the beginning. I think I started working with them, like a good 11 years ago. So I've been doing this for a while with them. Now, to explain, this is not a statue of Freya, and this is not a statue of Freyr. They are the standard, quote-unquote, the quote-unquote standard statues that will represent a feminine and a masculine in the pagan community in general, or in the pagan religion, right? Well, the reason I bought those and not one specifically Freya and Freyr were because at the time, the statues that they had, A, I didn't really gravitate to them as much, and B, I couldn't afford them for the ones that were out at the time. And with let's just say money was not a very abundant thing in my life at the time. But I really wanted statues or just something to symbolize the feminine and the masculine, other than just candles. At the time, that's all I had. So I decided to just get something that was very basic, very generic, I guess you could say, of, a masculine and a feminine statue representing the god and the goddess. So I ended up getting these because they were actually on sale or something within that nature. And I decided, something, fudge it. That's what I'm going to get. So I've had these statues for a good, I think maybe a little bit over 10 years. Just a little bit over 10 years, I think. No, I would say like 8-9 years. 8-9 years. So not over 10 yet. And they've gone through a lot with me. Many different moves, because I've been moving a lot the last 3-4 years. So they've gone through a lot with me. A lot of breakups and get-togethers and many things that I have failed at and many things that I've triumphed on. And what I've added to them, or what I've put on them, is for the Freyr statue, I have... These are all like things that I've just found. This is a... Whoopsie daisy. Just everything's falling out of my hands. This is a little statue of a deer with a pentacle on it. You can't really see it, sorry. And this is a coin from like Ireland or something like that. And it just felt good, right, to put it here for some reason or another. And I know it's not Norse, quote unquote, but it felt right to give it to them, or to give it to him. So that's always with his statue, no matter what. And then with Freya, she has a Herkimer diamond that I have on her little thing here as a gift. These are all like little trinkets and altar stuff that I give them. And a key, because she's a soothsayer. She can see the future. She has the keys to it. For me, it's more like she has the ability to tell me, and she has those she has the door, the keys to the door, kind of a thing for me. And that's why I give her like the keys. Even though I know that's more of a Hecate thing. I don't go off the mythology or the traditional stuff. I go off what feels right to give to my god and goddess, in other words. Also, I don't know if you can see it, but that little paper right there, that's actually a lotto ticket that I actually have under there, because when I work with Freyr, it's very much how can I put it? Like, I work with him as the prosperity, as all about, springtime and abundance and stuff like that. So I have that there. That's why he also has money. That's why he also has the I think it's Scottish or Irish coin that I have there. I think it's Irish. That's why he has it. And that's why Freya has the crystal. It's also, like a sense of magic and power and intuition and all that stuff. And I relate to Freya in more the soothsayer, the witch, not necessarily like the love goddess as she is for some people. I do communicate with her for that as well, but it's more about insight and seeing farther than the physical eye can. That's how I relate to her, communicate with her. Okay, so let's move on to the candles. Now, the two candles that I have on either side are, one is white, one is yellow, very standard. The god is the sun god. The goddess is Moon, very pagan, very Wiccan as well, even though I'm not a Wiccan anymore. But I still carry on some stuff. And then the middle candle is what you would normally consider my working candle. But the thing with my working candle is that I don't necessarily use it in the same way or with the same intention that you would a normal working candle. The difference with me and my working candle is that originally it was red, either red or pink, because the god, he has semen, that's his magical, potence. The goddess is all, feminine and menstrual cycle, so that's where they get that. So you put them together and they make the color pink if you mix it all together. Also red for blood, for power as well. Currently it's white though, and or I would also use rainbow colors candles. The reason for that I don't do the other sets of colors for working candles anymore is because now since I started using more the Norse traditions and making it my own. Please understand that I'm saying I'm making it my own. I'm not following any other tradition of Norse beliefs or anything. It's just me and how I do my thing. And that is because white is also a symbol or a color for Heimdall and or rainbow, as in the Rainbow Bridge or the Bifrost Bridge. So when I light the my working candle, I am literally symbolizing that I want to connect to Freya and Freyr. I want a direct line, or I'm saying basically like, I want to have that connection, that energy to combine with mine. So it's basically like either, I guess you could say it's spiritually and or psychologically my way of saying, I'm turning on the communication. I'm calling in. I'm making communications, like I'm texting you right now, Freya and Freyr. You know what I mean? So when I light it, usually I'm doing something that is spiritual in nature, like meditation, casting a spell, any kind of spell work of any sort, or I will have it lit. I also do fix the candles, so I add things that they like in the candles. So the Freya candle does have rose petals and other flowers. Same thing with Freyr. He has more his type of herbs that he might like and whatnot. So both of those are dedicated to Freya and Freyr. And then the middle candle, which is my working candle, I also add things that maybe that Heimdall would find interesting or would like. So, it's my way of saying, hey, I got to talk to Freya and Freyr. Do you mind? Like, can I get past? Kind of a thing. That's how I work it. And I know you can't really tell. It's not like, oh yeah, that is so Norse. No, that's just, like it looks just like a regular working candle. Doesn't have that kind of look to it. I do plan on in the future. I just didn't do it this time around because I actually forgot. But in the future, I want to write runes on it. But I haven't gotten around to it. I used to have one that had that, and I completely forgot to do it this time around when I lit it. And I was like, yeah, fudge it. I already started with it. I'm going to do it later or when I have another candle to do. But usually that's what I do with my working candle anyways. And let's get to the middle part here. So that's my, let me take it apart so you can see it. But this is my cauldron. Usually I don't have the cauldron here. I have the cauldron somewhere else in the room. The only time that I have my cauldron here is when I don't have a spell that I am currently working on. So if I don't have anything like, usually I do candle magic, but if I don't have any candle magic going on or anything specifically going on, I put my cauldron here because if I do need something quick and easy, like just quick, like I don't have to do a candle or anything, I take a paper, write what I want, burn it with either this flame or whichever one of the flames here, and I threw it in there, and there you go. So a lot of the stuff in here is like, I don't know if you could see, like paper and incense and a bunch of, I mean, it's a lot. I gotta clean it out a little bit. And then I have this, because when I do have the coal burning for incense, this heats up like a motherfucker. So you need something to keep it from burning or staining or something like that. And then here I have my ultra dish. Let me put this down so you can see. But here I have my ultra dish. And I actually got this at MegaCon. Whoever's a nerd, you know what MegaCon is. But basically it's a convention in Orlando, Florida. That's like nerdy convention. You get to see like stars, from Harry Potter, the Lord of the Rings. You meet a bunch of people, comic book characters and comic book heroes and authors and whatnot. But there was a lady, they have a section that's for, what you call it? There's a section that they sell like handmade stuff, like people that do Etsy and whatnot. And there was this one lady who did this. It wasn't the lady, it was her mother who made this, and she was selling this and like another one, and I was like, oh, I want the one with the bark on it, and she gave it to me, and it was my first and only pentacle dish on my altar. And then around it I have some mala beads, which I do use for prayer on occasion, but most of the time, guys, I leave it here because I use it, since it does have quartz crystals on it, I use it to, or as a crystal grid of sorts, so it just holds everything in when I'm doing it. Then let's go over here to this side. This is my salt, not my holy water, basically, my water, and then this is my salt, and I have it on this little, what'd you call this thing? To burn incense that you get like at the store. It has like a little top to it, but I just use it to put my salt in, and I just leave it there. And then I always have holy water, so that's water and salt put together. And then I have my rose quartz, which you can't really see because there's so much light. But let's see if you can see it. It's not that dark of a rose quartz, it's really light. But I have that on my altar for, love, and for it to, have that sort of positive, not necessarily romantic energy, but just a positive, good vibe. And then here I have my feather, which I've had for a very long time. And I bought this actually at a Botanica. The reason I bought it was because my mother, at the time, not so much now, but at the time, she really didn't like me turning on any incense. So I had to make do with what I got. So what I would do is that I would use that to represent air and not turn on incense. Now I do, as you can see here. And then this is my incense burner, my stick incense burner. And right now I have a sage burning. But in here, you can stick incense in there. I just don't want to do it because I don't want to mess with this stick. But you can put it in here, so you don't have to go like, oh my god, I forgot my incense. I have to break the circle or something. So it's just more convenient, guys. And then this is my athame. This is the first athame. It's not the only athame that I've ever gotten, but it's the first athame. And it's the only one that I use because my other one got left with my high priestess when I was in a coven. And it was left for a reason. But, and that's another story. But this is the athame that I've always used. And I've never needed another athame so far. I do use my athame for carving things, not just energy work. Because it's just convenient, guys. I don't have too much... I don't follow too many strict rules with how I use my tools. As long as it feels comfortable. I'm very... the best way I could describe it, I'm very intuitive. with how I do my magic, with how I do my worship. So whatever feels right, feels right. I also feel like if it's not broke, don't fix it. So if it feels good to me, then, and it stays that way, then it stays that way. If it doesn't, then I work with something else and I figure something out. And lastly, these two things on either side are actually offerings that I do every Friday, because it's Freya and Freya, obviously Friday. And it's basically, I give one thing of like chocolate or something that's hard, basically something that you can eat, and then something that you can drink, which is, this is kombucha, which is kind of old, it's already moldy, but usually they don't mind the mold on it, or not the mold, it's kombucha has a tendency of, not a tendency, it's it ferments, so it's basically fermenting. So that is the top of my altar, and that's how I run my altar, and I love it the way it is. And I've seen other people with altars that are gorgeous, that are just amazing, but it's not really me, because as you can see, this is a really small table. And it's actually which I'm gonna show you the bottom part. It's actually a TV tray table that I bought at Walmart many years ago. And I bought it going, shoot, that's a good size for my altar. That's perfect. I don't have to, like, it's small, it's not too small, it's not too big, it doesn't weigh much, and it has wheels, so I can move this around. That is a win-win situation for me. So let me cut out, and I'm going to come right back, and I'm going to show you the bottom part of my altar. Okay, guys, so this is the bottom of my altar. Starting off, we have a shelf here. Now, on the shelf, I have this cup, a horn cup that I have, and I only use it when I'm drinking or something. It's basically like my chalice, for lack of a better term. And I recently got it like maybe a couple weeks ago. So far so good. And it actually cost me only $5, which was a steal, I think. Usually these things cost about $20, and the guy was like, "You want it for $5?" And I was like, "With the stand?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I will take it." And it's not for a huge thing, wine or anything in that nature. It's for something small, or like something that you're just going to drink really quick. It's not for, like a pint or anything. But then again, I don't drink that much alcohol. But I use it for rituals. I am planning on getting a little side holster for it on a belt or something. So then if I go to the Renaissance fair or anything like that, I can take it with me and drink with it. Which, sounds freaking cool. So then as we go farther down, we've got not all, but most of my oils, or actually that's all of my oils. So everything down here, oopsie daisy. So everything down here, all my oils, and I have them by road opening, money, manipulation. Is it manipulation? No, is it manipulation? No, abundance, excuse me. It's road opening, money, abundance in all aspects, like things to attract, and manipulation oils. And then here I have essential oils that are from Andrew Green. Yeah, I know. Total pagan here. I got some vanilla oil for anything that I need to make. We got some really old honey that has gone like really freaking dark. And then back here, if I can grab it without, breaking anything. This is actually some incense from Azure Green that I got. I put it in a Tostitos can. Yeah, we're all like really like fancy here. But it's basically incense that I've created from a resin incense, a Celtic one that I got many moons ago, many moons ago. And I mixed it up with some herbs, and this is like my altar incense that I use for when I burn coal. This is what I burn. And then this is actually, I'll explain what this is in a second. It's just a jar with coins in it, but there's more to it. This is my first, not my only, but my first wand, which I do not use at all because it's very unpractical, I think. And when I bought it, it was just like, oh, it's so cool. I gotta have this. And then when I bought it, I was like, this is not what I really wanted to have. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I've had it for many years. This is just a little thing that I have that holds, that I can put incense sticks and it's usually a top for something, but I cannot find the bottom part to it. It's somewhere in my room. But and then this are Saint Lazarus and a Santero Orisha or goddess named Oshun. Now, I'm not a Santera. I was never trained in any of this, but I really wanted to, at the time when I bought these, I wanted to explore my, I guess you could say, Cuban spirituality or Cuban heritage. So those are the ones that I gravitated to. And there's more to the story, but that would take a long time. And I was using them as, like, I guess you could say my masculine and feminine, to connect to the divine masculine and feminine. But I didn't feel a real connection. I felt like it was very forced. Like I was forcing myself to be spiritual with, or to be in that spiritual connection that I would feel with Freya and try to connect with them the same way. Because everybody was like, oh, well, you know, you should embrace your culture or embrace who you are genetically and all that stuff. And I was like, well, let me try. And I felt like a complete fish out of water. I did not feel very connected as much as people said that I should, because of my, you know, I guess my genes or my culture, or, you know, where my family comes from, which is from Cuba. But then what they don't realize is that, yeah, my family comes from Cuba, but they also come from Spain, northern Spain, which was conquered by the Celts and the Norse. So I'm pretty sure I have like Celtic blood in me or Norse blood in me, like some area within that general vicinity. And that's why I probably connect more with the Norse pantheon and traditions and whatnot. So back to the rest of the stuff that I have on here. These are still good. This is really good. I use this as like a room spray for like prosperity. Same thing with this. It's like, you know, for love. And then we've got Florida water, because why not? Everybody uses Florida water nowadays. And I live in Florida, so, you know, it's abundant. So, and then these are like the typical powders that you find in the stores, in the botanicas here, that you can add and put to, you know, to use. But at the current moment, I'm not using most of them. And then down here, I have some old mala beads that I don't use anymore. But I still have them because they're good. And I made this. This was handmade by yours truly. And then this was given to me as a gift by a friend. But I don't really use those anymore, even though I used to. Not so much now. And then let me put these back here. So that's pretty much what I have. Now, when it comes to my herbs and stuff, I have them in a different area in my room. I don't have them on my altar because it's way too much stuff for the space that I have on my altar. And where I have, let me show you again. And where I have this, my new drinking horn, which is freaking awesome and I love it, I don't have the platform is a little tricky. So if you put too much weight on one side of it, it'll flip. And you don't want that to happen, especially if you have crystals and things that are, you know, glass jars. Not fun. So I normally don't have anything up on there. It's just that I don't have anywhere to put the drinking horn. So I just leave it alone. I just put it there. It looks really cute. And I just don't touch it at the current moment unless I need it for something. But I'm very careful not to let the platform flip. But also, as you can see, I do have wheels on this. So if, for instance, my mom has a tendency of being very like, let's not tell anybody that you're pagan or that you're a witch or whatever. I don't want any of the neighbors to know. So what we do is, if anybody has to come into the room, because my room has the bathroom, the only bathroom in the apartment. So if we have guests over that aren't close family relatives that know about my religious and spiritual practices, my mom will take my altar and put it in the closet. And I don't care, like, it doesn't bother me because, you know, she's a little old lady. She doesn't have a lot of friends where we live, and I want her to be as comfortable and as happy as possible. And if that means that I have to put my altar away every once in a while to keep her from being or feeling alone or isolated because she thinks that people are not going to accept me or her for being my mother because of my religious beliefs, I'm perfectly fine with that. And she's done a lot for me throughout her years. She sacrificed a lot of her life to raise me. So I think that me putting away my altar when feels, you know, uncomfortable or scared that she will get ridiculed because of my beliefs, I'm perfectly fine with, quote unquote, being in the closet for her. When it comes to those people, when it comes to everybody else online or my friends or anything like that, I'm very open with what I believe and who I am. So that's my altar. I hope that you enjoyed. If you have any questions, please let me know down in the comment section. Also, I may be doing Instagram Live at least maybe once or twice every other week, just for the heck of it, to see how everybody's doing. But show up and say hi, because you never know. I might say something interesting. You might be able to give me some input on something that you want me to talk about here on the channel or something in that nature. So please don't be shy and come on down to my Instagram Live. Other than that, guys, as usual, much love and blessings.